live from Tucson. It's don't have the proper ingredients. Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel. It's Wednesday, beautiful Tucson. One more month I'm here. So yes, a lot of videos about Tucson, the area, but after that, another location. About today. Talk about inflation. You hear it every day on the news. Inflation this, inflation that. Today, the Federal Reserve is going to announce their rate decision is expected, according to the pundits, to be 25% basis point cut, which means 1/4% of the discount window where banks borrow from the Federal Reserve get to pay less for their loans. Everybody's panicking sometimes. People are like, oh my God, if you keep cutting rates, inflation is going to rise super so much. Wait just a second here. Don't let fear. Rate cuts and rate rises generally help the banks, in my opinion. Again, this is not financial advice. Do your own research. But I got something to show you. It's really blowing my mind. Let me put this down here. Yes, I had this shirt for 20 years. Yes, EDM. Before it was called EDM. Went to the store today. Lean beef with 15% fat. $6.99 a pound. Would say, what, a couple years ago it was $3.99? Or even $3? So we could say almost 200%. Just shooting off the hip here. Don't quote me on the exact percentages. Depends on the area you're in, of course. Everything else was not one static from one location to another. Everybody keeps talking about inflation. Oh my God, inflation. The inflation definition, folks. According to Google, is a general increase in prices for goods and services over time, which decreases the purchase power of money, meaning your money buys less than it used to, which is true. Inflation is a real thing. Not denying that. But I'm starting to think some of these corporals, and I'm not an anti-corporal person or whatever. Hey, we had our 401k, the S&P 500 is a staple of every 401k I know of. You can pick from other investments in your 401k, but the S&P 500 of the largest companies that's publicly tradable is an S&P 500. My opinion, only Google it, research it yourself. When they do, companies in the index rise, make money, people buy their shares, money managers, hedge funds buy their shares, the prices, your value of your 401k goes up. So I'm not against corporations per se. Right? Cut that out. Because if all corporations suck, your S&P 500 goes down, your investments go down. What's your retirement going to be like? Catch-22. So this only thing I'm against is what appears to be price gouging. I don't like that. Here's my opinion. You research this yourself. Sorry. Early in the morning, just woke up. Can't speak English today, I guess. Again, went to the store. Beef $6.99 a pound. I think it was $3 a couple years ago. So it has the price of beef from the source went up since that time. I found this website called Trading Economics. I like to watch commodities prices to understand what's going on. I'm on the computer now. I will show it to you. Sorry if you can't see because of the reflection. So we're going to go to livestock. You got feeder, cattle, live cattle, poultry, beef. We're going to go to the beef section right here. I guess this beef price is right now $322.50 barrel. That's what it says. Don't quote me on that, but look at yourself. Which is 15 kilo. So 15 kilos of beef costs $3.22. Okay. Let's go back to 5-year chart. Beginning of 2023. So 2023, January 9th, we're not going to be exact on this. 286.84 per barrel. As of today is 322. So I'm shooting off the top of my head. 13% increase since 2023. So the beginning of 2020 now, the store is showing it almost around 100% or even a little bit more. Again, I didn't write down the price of beef at that store. So based on this chart, in the last 2 years, beef overall, this is overall, went up 13%. Again, go to tradingeconomics.com. Go into indicators or markets and go commodities and look under that. So, is it okay if the beef itself at the source, the wholesaler, the price is only 13% up? Why am I paying almost double now? So I'm going to say, okay, maybe the cost to get an item from your warehouse, from the source of origin to the store, you have to go through middlemen, the supply chain, they call it. Well, the supply chain's been in existence for years. So let's see if the cost of basic items in the supply chain could cause this increase as well. So I'm going to go back to commodities. Let's go crude oil. It's always on the news. Every day. Crude oil, come on. Let's go to 5-year chart. 2023. Just say close enough, January 16th, and that'd be exact. $79, $80 a barrel, beginning of 2023, to now it's 58. So the price per barrel of oil, which is in everything when it comes to transportation, has went down. What is that, 17%? 18, 19? I'm just shooting off the top of my head. 20. More than that. Wow. Could be 20% drop. Anyway, let's look under the commodity gas. I'm looking at all reasons, and so we can't have any excuses or missing out on items. Gasoline, 5-year chart. $2.16 per gallon at the source. Now it's $1.77. It's down. 10%, 10.5%, what? 12%? I don't know, something like that. Close to the top of my head, don't quote me on certain numbers. I'm just pointing an example. Oil's down. Gasoline per gallon is down from 2023. I'm talking at the source. Remember, different locations, you got different states, have different taxes. That's all included, of course. The main cost of transportation is going to be oil. Then we got to look at labor costs. Has labor gone up in the last 2 years that much? Remember, beef prices up 13%, oil and gas is down. Shipping rates from one company to another, from the point of origin to your store. I don't see this an index or indice here on that website, but I would like to believe it's not up 100%. Why would it be? It's the same supply chain, same folks. Labor costs, I believe they went up in the last few years because companies are adding. So this is the exact percentage, let's say 10%. The driver, did he get a 10% raise in the last 2 years? Probably not, but I'm going to say it. The warehouse loader, the person cleaning the equipment, maintenance. Has their wages been up that much in the last 2 years? I would say no. I think wages have gone up a lot only at fast food. Started in California, added to $15 an hour. Yes, some labor costs would be included when you go to McDonald's. Pay a lot of money for a Happy Meal or a Big Mac meal. But we're just talking right now, just pound of beef. $6.99, like I said, three, over 100%. Oil's down, gas is down. Transportation costs, which includes labor and oil. Maintenance of the vehicles, has that gone down? Maintenance of vehicles, I believe, has gone up because I got my own car repair and that's gone up. But 100% for that said commodity when the commodity itself is not gone up that much, only been up 13%. People say, oh, you're not including inflation numbers. Inflation numbers are included in the initial point of origin on the price on this graph here. Yes, the price itself includes, of that commodity includes the supply and demand of the price. It means including price. Supply and demand, and inflation is included because the point of origin has their own cost in putting into creating your product. They got to pay their own oil and their own labor costs, but that's included when they're selling. That's the price, like I said, per kilo. 15 kilos it was. So they're selling to the middleman at that much. And therefore, as it goes down the supply chain down. Remember, these supply chains have been in existence for years. So what would cause it to be over 100% for you, the consumer? A lot of these stores are posting record profits. Have you noticed that? Again, it will reflect in the stock's price because stock price is based on so many buys and sells. The supply and demand influences the price. So if the company's making more money, the price of the stock goes on up. Is it in the S&P 500? If it is, it goes up as well. It partially goes up. There's 500 stocks involved in it. It's also weighted. Not each stock is represent one. Each stock in the index or each company in the index does not represent 1/500th. It doesn't. You research it. This is my own little research I've done. Again, not financial advice for you. Look it up yourself. I'm just talking here, having fun, asking questions. You should always learn to ask questions. Question authority. You have to question what is the reason why something is. There's nothing wrong with questioning it. I'm not questioning everything every single day, but I'm just wondering why today this beef is over 200% when the actual beef itself is 15%. So labor cost, let's give it a 10, 20%. Let's just say. But companies are laying off lots of people too. So are people getting gouged at the retail store, or the middlemen are raising the prices so much they can get a more profit selling it to the store, knowing that the customer is going to pay? Did you hear what I just said? Based on statistical data, you think these companies don't have market analysts, research analysts, suspecting or anticipating if they raise a percentage of said commodity that will the customer buy it? Remember, this is not each individual person. This is based of a group in all. So, like I say, these retail stores are posting profits out the door. All companies pulling profits out the door. Why they can get away with this? Oh, we just say inflation. No, inflation in itself isn't doing it. No. Inflation is included in the price. Remember, again, you got supply and demand of the said commodity, etc. That's obvious. Inflation is a part of everything, but it's not the biggest part. Oh, it's a weakened dollar. Well, again, depends on how much the dollar is weakened. I'm not comparing it to 30 years ago. They say the dollar's weakened 90%. I've been reading online and stuff like that, which could be true. I'm talking about right now that price of beef I just was going to buy today, which I didn't. Are the companies gouging you that much? Let's say all these companies, knowing that you're going to buy the product at this price, keep raising it, knowing that you're going to buy the product? It's up to you, the ultimate consumer. The store can raise the price from $6.99 to $10.99. Yeah, we're going to sit and bitch about it. But us as a whole, we continue to buy the amounts in the same amount of that commodity at that price. That price is still going to stay high because they know you are willing to pay for it. Again, the price to buy and sell something is the price. Remember again, the supply and demand issues is included in this. It's your willingness to pay that much price. You know, what I'm saying is you can't go to the store and say, oh, I'm not going to pay $6.99, I'll pay you $5, and the cashier's not going to give you that. They're going to say, get the hell out of the store. But if enough people don't buy that commodity or cut back on that commodity, maybe the prices come down. So it's not just inflation that's causing this, it's the consumer. Remember that. The price is the same, or wait, only 13% of the commodity itself. And I'm given some leeway on the labor cost because I think some jobs have went up in price per hour. Not a lot. I'm just saying they have been. The gases went down. Oil's down. Can't use that as an excuse. Same with airline tickets. They went up like crazy as well. Why? Because people are willing to pay for that. There's your inflationary price. The Federal Reserve rate lowering 1/4% or even 1%. It's not going to make all this shit fly up like crazy. Think about it. Read on it. Read on some articles, YouTube, financial articles as well. Yes, when you lower the rate, generally that means more money is put into the system. The liquidity is increased. More money is in supply. They're saying the supply of that money in itself is going to automatically raise prices. No, it's on the consumer who's willing to pay for such. If you want your beef at $10 or $6.99 and you buy the same amount as you always have, you're just feeding into them, in my opinion. If you buy that beef $6.99 and cut it in half, instead of having a quarter-pound burger, half an eighth a pound burger, save it for next week. Freeze it. Learn to cut back. Eat different things. Using the term inflation in itself, I think we're being played. It's sad. And it comes to other things. You can look at chicken. You look at this chart, tradingeconomics.com, you see there's a spike. Eggs, look under eggs under that site. You see the big spike in the beginning of this year. Huge spike. It was on the news. Why was that? Did inflation itself cause that? No, but they were saying it. Didn't they kill a lot of birds? The bird flu? So if you limit, so demand was there the same, and you purposely shrink the supply, what's going to happen? The price is going to shoot up. Inflation in itself has nothing to do with it. So question things sometimes. Look at things. What are they talking about? I'm looking at my paper here. Yeah, I don't remember everything. Gas down. I do natural gas, folks. I've seen people online complaining, oh, my natural gas bill went up 200% from last year. Okay, let's go back to the site. Markets, commodities, natural gas. 5-year chart. That's good enough, whatever. 314 compared to 459 now. It's not 100%. What does this represent? Per MMBTU. I don't know, it's got to be the volume. Anyway. Yeah, it went up. A little over 30% now. It's just a sudden jump. Okay, 30%. Let's just say 30%. Not quoting exact numbers. So why is your bill up 100%, yet the commodity itself is up only 30-some percent? Did the pipelines change? Did the transportation from the natural gas from from the wholesaler to you went up that much? Does it cost 100% for someone to push the lever to increase their supply, the demand? The thing with natural gas, if the demand goes up, do they increase the supply? I don't think so, because prices went up 30% originally on initial source, and their shit went up over. Something's off. There's a big disconnect from the point of origin of the commodity that comes to you. Too much of a price increase. And yes, governments, companies can and have been affecting supply to create a price higher or lower when they want to. Prove me wrong? Okay, remember OPEC is on the news in the 80s, 90s, even 2000s. Oh my God, OPEC and, the supply, the demand for oil has went up because of the summer. So they'll increase it. So the supply went up 10%. They never said that they increased the supply 10% as well. They probably increased it to 8%. Or we're in a recession, the supply for oil went down 10%. So OPEC, instead of keeping the same rate, will lower demand. So what would have been a much lower cost for you, your cost just went up because they can decrease the supply. Managing the supply up and less will be the biggest part of the cost of said commodity. My opinion only. Because if the demand went down, shouldn't the price go down a lot? Yes, it does on things, but you'll never know if it goes down as it should, because if you can control the supply, you can raise it and lower the supply. Oil, OPEC, Google it, look it up. They're going to keep their prices stabilized so they all make big money. And of course, you need to have a certain amount of profits for companies to be in existence. Let's be honest. You can't say, oh, I hate all companies. Well, if you don't like, oh, I hate gas companies. Well, you're driving a car, right? So if they didn't exist, you wouldn't have a car. You wouldn't get nowhere. So, what I'm saying? I'm not being, like I said, this video is not against against corporations. I just don't like being the idea of price gouging. It's just my opinion. So check it out. Check out that website. Again, ask yourself the same questions. Has oil been up? Gas been up? The cost of labor been up that much? Like I said, I went through Kingman, Arizona not too long ago. Got a 10-piece Happy Meal. I think the shit was $12, $13. I think a couple years ago it was $7, $8 maybe. It's a huge increase. And poultry has not been up that much. And yes, again, Recker's making lots of profits. Again, I'm the consumer. As long as I continue to buy a certain thing at said price, they're going to keep it as such. So, and blame inflation for everything when we are the ones, as a group, we are the consumers. We are the ones, we actually, what am I going to say? We actually influence the price a lot more than we want to think, because our demand. Again, we're not in charge of the supply. They can, like I say, increase in supply, whatever. There's our natural disasters. There are birds do get sick. Then you got a question: is this done on purpose as well? I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, but understand the supply and demand when it comes to commodities. Housing is another one. I'll get into that later in another video. All right, I got a lot of beef on that one, but we'll see what their interest rates the Fed's going to do here today. So have a good one. Peace.